What is up, YouTube? Ncaa31 here, bringing you NCAA 12 online, using Texas in this one versus USC, while I'm sitting here also watching Oklahoma State and Iowa State in a good game, real good game.
For USC,
just a funny little aside, you know, every now and then people complain that there's too many drops in NCAA football. Well, I'm watching this game, and Iowa State has dropped 8 passes this game. 8. So, it does happen, you know, these are college kids, these aren't polished seasoned professionals. But, be that as it may, just thought I'd throw that little nugget there for you guys. Anyway, I added TCU's playbook to my spread playbook overview thread on NCAAstrategies.com. I've been missing a lot of user picks lately. I don't know what it is. My timing has been a little bit off. My judgment has been a little bit off, and I'm missing user pick opportunities lately. As you see there, I get roasted for a touchdown. I kind of underestimated that receiver's speed. But in this particular game, I am using Notre Dame's spread and also practicing the 4-2-5. I'm almost comfortable enough with it to start my 4-2-5 breakdown. I've gotten better as far as when to use which sets and whatnot. It's been a lot of fun. It's a good set. There's some really crazy alignment issues that pop up every now and then that don't occur in a 3-3-5 stack. But other than that, you know, it brings some very good things to the table, which I'll go into when I break it down. But this is a good game as far as putting Notre Dame spread through its paces, because this guy is a tough player. So this was a very good test. I like using Texas. I like using teams whose fight songs I like. And I like Gilbert. I liked Garrett Gilbert from the first time I saw him in the national championship game. You had me from hello, Garrett Gilbert. No homo. And I hope he does well. Hope he, you know, transfers and has himself a decent college career. Plus, I like Texas's fight song. It's kind of swanky. I like using teams whose fight songs I like. In addition to Notre Dame, of course. And teams I use from my online dynasty. But I wanted to talk about one-loss teams. We're getting down to the crunch time in the college football season. And we're getting to that time of year, and we know what happens. It's just a matter of when, where the pressure starts to ratchet up in these games. There's more at stake with every week as we get into the, you know, home stretch of the season.
Not a great throw by the quarterback, but to be fair,
and shakeups will occur. You know they will. It's just a matter of where and how and when. Oklahoma State is showing us some chinks in their armor tonight. Well, you know, they have extenuating circumstances, of course, you know.
They're calling an audible.
You know, thoughts and prayers to the Oklahoma State community. They suffered a, you know, tragic blow with their women's basketball coach and assistant coach, you know, dying in a plane crash. So I'm sure their hearts are a bit heavy tonight.
5, maybe 6 on that screen pass.
But going through the BCS rankings, the one-loss teams, we have Alabama, Oregon, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Stanford, Boise State. I don't take Houston seriously, even though they're 10-0. They're not in any kind of serious discussion. Although one game I am interested in this week, other than the obvious ones, is Houston versus SMU. Run and shoot versus air raid. I'll be watching that game just because I'm a junkie and that's what I do. But out of those one-loss teams, who do you guys like? Do you guys like Alabama with their defense? And how,
From their own
you know,
2-yard line.
balanced they are, top to bottom, from defense, offense, special teams, and of course how well they're coached. Oregon and their zoom offense. Oklahoma. Was Oklahoma's loss against Texas Tech just one of those out-of-context anomalies? Arkansas, they can sling it around. Clemson, are you a believer in Clemson and Virginia Tech? Stanford. Boise State. Has Boise State become one of those teams that are a little bit fraudulent, that stubbed their toe against when the season gets late, against the TCUs and the Nevadas of the world?
Flipping is the call.
Oregon really impressed me last week. I hadn't really paid much attention to Oregon since the LSU game. I haven't really watched them that much this year, but they were very, very impressive. That offense is as explosive as it's ever been. Their defense did a good job on Andrew Luck. LaMichael James seems to be back and healthy. And one thing I don't think people talk about enough is Deron Thomas is a really good spread quarterback. He's very good. He can throw the football. I don't think, how many people realize that Deron Thomas threw for 30 touchdowns last year? I mean, granted, their passing game isn't the most, you know, complex on earth, but he's very efficient, and he made some very good throws in that Stanford game. I really like him as a player. So Oregon impressed me from top to bottom.
He makes it out to maybe the 7-yard line. The running back gets a yard, maybe less.
I think LSU is going to take care of business. So I don't know if Alabama has. Does Alabama have a game this weekend? I don't know. Let me take a look at the schedule. I don't see that Alabama does. So I don't think Oregon is going to be leapfrogging Alabama anytime soon. And I don't think they're going to be in the mix unless LSU drops the ball. But I think they're just as good as anybody else out there. I mean, they've looked very impressive. Clemson, I don't know, I just don't like Clemson. Virginia Tech, I always like to root for Virginia Tech. I always hope they do well, but I don't think they have a real elite team. I think that the elite teams are LSU, Bama, Oregon, and I guess until further notice, you got to give Oklahoma State that credit. I think those four, and I kind of want to put Oklahoma. I'll throw Oklahoma in there. Those five, I think, are the top. I think the BCS rankings has it correct. I think those are the top 5 teams in that order. I wouldn't swap anything around, but I'm really curious to see how Oregon does going forward. If they win the Pac-12, can they get into the mix? I guess it would have to depend on how if Oklahoma State loses to Oklahoma, which is very possible. Well, let's say Oregon runs the table. Alabama runs the table the rest of the way. And if Oklahoma knocks off Oklahoma State, would that be enough for Oregon to jump Alabama to play LSU, assuming LSU wins the SEC? That'd be an interesting question. And how would Oregon match up against LSU again? LSU handled them pretty nicely the first time around. Would you rather see an Oregon-LSU game rematch or an Alabama-LSU rematch? How do you think LSU would do against Oklahoma? I think LSU would kick Oklahoma State in the teeth. I think that game would get away from Oklahoma State in a hurry. I think the best game would be LSU Alabama. I don't think any of the others gives LSU much of a game. And I still think we're going to see LSU Alabama. I don't know if there's any kind of rule saying that two teams from the same conference can't match up in the BCS title game. A couple of people have asked that question in video comments. I don't know the answer to that, nor do I feel, compelled to look it up. But I think that would be the best game, most competitive game. As far as other games that are on the slate for the weekend, right now I'm watching Iowa State. They have the ball with 7:55 left against Okie State, and they're, still in their own territory, down by 7. I don't think they're going to pull it off. I don't like the way their quarterback throws the ball, and they're dropping way too many balls. Nebraska, Michigan in the Big Ten. I have no idea who the best team in the Big Ten is. I mean, Nebraska, Michigan, Michigan State, they're pretty much all the same as far as I'm concerned. I actually think Wisconsin is the best team. Penn State, they all have identical records. But I think Wisconsin is the best team out of all of them, despite their records and where they're ranked. But I like Michigan in that game. Damn them to hell. I don't think Team Magic is up to the task. Florida State back in the BCS rankings. And how much of a downer was the Florida State-Miami game? Remember when the Florida State-Miami game was a must-see game and was a game that had national implications every year? This year, I didn't know that game was being played until it kicked off. I was having lunch in a sports bar with a lady friend, and she was and bless her heart, she's a big college football fan. Best kind of girl to have. And we were eating lunch, and after the 12 o'clock games had ended, on comes Florida State-Miami, and I had no idea that game was being played. I mean, how far has that game fallen off? It's amazing how things have changed.
The defense down the field was great.
It was a terrible game, too. Just an absolute, bore of a game. Miami is just in, I don't know what the issue is with Miami. I don't know how or why it's been so hard to turn and right the ship of that program. USC and Oregon. Another interesting game. I think Oregon will show up and take care of business there. I don't think USC has enough to slow that offense down. And Oregon's just such a fun offense to watch. I really love how they play offense. So, as usual, I would love to hear what you guys think. I'm currently working on the Clemson playbook, and I'm taking a look at that. And then after that, I think I'll do, I don't know, I'll have to pick one, but I'm tinkering around with Clemson's playbook now, learning that and practicing with that before I take it live online. I'll do an overview on that, and I'll keep on doing that until I have all the spread playbooks broken down. Spread is really fun to run, and I really like TCU's. TCU has a very good, balanced spread playbook. A lot of good things in there, so, take a look at the overviews, take a look at the playbooks for all you spread guys out there. My goal is to,
drops back to pass.
Break them down in a simple, brief way, just so people can find a spread book that, fits their style of play. There's so many of them, and each of them is, different and unique and bring different things to the table. So, I'll keep that coming, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.
Here's another look at our selection for the EA Sports Player of the Game.